number 5, just on top of Zion. Zion's a generational talent who can get even better. This guy was a generational talent, and guess what? He's still fucking young. Like, nobody, people don't realize that how young this guy is. We have Kristaps Porzingis. He's going into this year 25 years old. He is my age, but I feel like because he started in the league as such a successful player and he started 4 years ago, we don't realize that he is still such a young player with such a bright future ahead of him. He's
Yeah,
a unicorn.
he is, and this is one of the guys who the jersey you're wearing. Fans were very upset when they made this pick, but realistically, going back, I'm sure any Knicks fan would love to have Kristaps back. Um,
For sure. Way better than Julius Randle. Come
yeah,
on now.
I mean the trade that happened was very questionable to say the least. Porzingis has so many elements to his game that you know what? Yeah, I know that year over year, if you look at the numbers, there has been huge leaps and bounds last couple of years. But there's things Porzingis could do with and without the ball that other guys can't do. He has a great
Yeah.
ability, obviously, to space and to create his shot both on and off of the ball. But like his ball handling skill is not just terms of like he's not a Sabonis in terms of passing and dishing, where maybe he could be and he just hasn't. But like in terms of just being a ball handler with the ball,
He's great.
there's no one else 7 foot who could do what Kristaps could do. Like he has,
Off the bounce.
yeah, he has one of the best crossovers you're going to see in the NBA, let alone for a big guy. Like he could break probably most average guys' ankles like it's nothing. Um, he's crazy athletic for a 7 footer, especially for a guy who physically doesn't look like he'd be. Obviously, he's crazy strong as well for again a guy who doesn't look like he'd be. Rebounds super well, scores at a pretty efficient pace. You just, yeah,
He had a down year in Dallas last year. He had a down year for his first year in Dallas. With that being said, he didn't play the year before that. We're missing that out of Porzingis. We're forgetting that he was out for a complete year. It takes people a hot minute to get back into it. Not only that, but he came back into Dallas where he's not a star player. He's the second best player. He always played an inside out game. Like we were talking about Kevin Love earlier. He went over to Dallas, and Rick Carlisle said, "No, you're sitting on the 3 point line." And everyone's chirping to Carlisle all year. Why aren't you playing him in? Why aren't you playing him in? And then those games where he'd hit 5 3 pointers, Rick Carlisle's looking at the other people, being like, "Are you guys are a bunch of fucking idiots?" With that being said, he only hit it 35% last year. He can raise that up. He's got that shooting ability. I I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure his shooting actually got better throughout the year. He still ended up 20 points per game, even though he was on a team with Luka Doncic over at 28 points per game, 30 points per game. He's still a fantastic player. The fact that he's not the number one player on this team just benefits him more and more. He's the only person outside of maybe Davis and LeBron that's such a highly ranked player, such a highly skilled player who's not counted upon to be that number one player. It could put them in a fantastic role that I think that by the end of the year last year, especially in the playoffs, he figured out that role. He understands that role, and he'll only shine in it more and more, especially as Doncic is going to be 22. He's going to be 26. And Dallas is a scary team with Kristaps Porzingis putting up 22 points per game. They were a scary team last year at him hitting 35% at threes. He gets up to 40% at threes. I don't know how you defend him.
yeah, and I mean, with that being said, too, like you said, you're confident he can improve it. I mean, the year before he should have shot at 39%, and the year before he also had, I believe, 4 attempts per game, if I'm not mistaken. Last year he had
And he
seven
went up to
and a half.
7.
That's what I mean. That's a big jump. So I
Yeah.
mean, you're probably going to see some regression there, and like you said as well, missed a whole year. So obviously there's some factor into there too. To say he's going to get worse than this, I'd be very surprised. To say he's even going to stay at this level, like you said, to be surprised, probably going to get back up to that a minimum 38%, 30 whatever percent
Yep.
kind of mark. But
And
it's
that's one more 3 pointer.
exactly. And that's again puts you at 23 per game. You're talking about 22 per game, puts you even more there. And I think not only that, but Kristaps Porzingis and Luka, they clearly like playing together, and that's something that is very beneficial for Dallas long term. Where in New
Yeah.
York, like yeah, he was a star player, he was whatever, but like you could tell he wasn't that happy. There, the day he was received, they weren't happy to get him. Why would you like that'd be like starting a relationship with someone to be like, ah, whatever, and then you're just like the whole time trying to prove your worth to them. Like what would be the
The
point?
whole time they're sitting there being like, "Did you guys draft Bargnani?" No, they didn't draft Bargnani. They drafted essentially Dirk.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, ultimately, this guy, like you said, came off an injury, still had a really good year, could only go up. They were probably more conservative with how they used him
Yeah.
just to make sure they actually didn't ruin his career, especially because, like you said, they lost Dirk, and they don't want to be a team that ends up as a consistent bottom feeder. They know what they have with Luka. They want to surround it with good players. They did with Kristaps, and this team, I would be shocked if they don't make the playoffs for a number of years to come. And just depending how much he improves, Kristaps will probably just keep hovering throughout this 1 to 5. It's just like we said with center, everyone above him too. They're so good in their own right. I could really only see him in recent years unless there's an injury going above one of these guys, honestly.
No, that's exactly it. No, he's a fantastic player, and we've been talking about how great he is at certain things. We haven't even talked about how great he is on the defensive end as an interior presence. If he ever did move to center, he's kind of like an Anthony Davis, where he's able to destroy power forwards, but he could easily play center with and bang it down low with any player in the league. That's kind of what he's probably going to do eventually with his career, kind of like how Dirk did it. But with that being said, this guy's future is only looking brighter. He's so young still. Don't underestimate him. He's going to be a top player for the next couple of years. He'll be a top player probably for the rest of it. And I really do believe that KP's got a great future. In Dallas with him and Luka, no matter who else they bring in, they're a top 4 team in the West every year. Those two are there no matter what.
Yeah, I mean, he's never had, sorry, one year with 1.9, but other than that, never had less than 2 blocks in a year. So
Yeah,
like, this is a guy who
that was
actually,
rookie year.
yeah, and that's a guy who actually knows how to use his length. He knows how to use his size. And there's someone who, even on this list, I feel like I'm going to say doesn't necessarily know how to do that, even at this point, who's been in the league even longer than him.
No, exactly, and that's where he's gotten to this point of his career by using his size, by using what he's great at. And last year wasn't a great year to show what he's great at. I think he's only going to get better.
Yeah, I would agree.
So just on top